Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list. Here's my top 10 favorite spy movies. Yes, spy movies. There's a lot of great spy movies, whether you got your James Bonds, your Jason Bournes, your Mission Impossibles, and just other franchises like Jack Ryan and stuff. There's a lot of amazing spy movies, and I thought I'd count down my top 10 personal favorite spy movies. Alright, let's get to it. Here's my top 10 favorite spy movies. And before our top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. And my honorable mentions are Spy, 3 Days of the Condor, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Ronin, True Lies, Notorious, Bridge of Spies, Goldfinger, Patriot Games, Spy Game, and The Hunt for Red October. Yes, a lot of honorable mentions. All great movies, just coming at the top 10 list. But what did make my top 10 was my number 10. And my number 10 is Kingsman, The Secret Service. Yes, this was the very first movie review I did on this channel, and I freaking love this movie. This is directed by Matthew Vaughn. It's one of Matthew Vaughn's best movies. I love it. It's no First Class or Stardust, but it's right there. It's a very fun, very silly spy action movie, but it just works. It's like Austin Powers meets James Bond, and it's so freaking good. I love Samuel Jackson as this really lispy villain. I think Colin Firth steals the movie. I love Taron Egerton also in the movie. Even Michael Caine's really good. Stanley Tucci. Everyone is so good. A lot of these young actors are just really, really fun, very entertaining to watch. There's a lot of great British wit, but also a lot of great action, adventure, sci-fi elements, a lot of gadgets like a James Bond movie and stuff, and yeah, I think everyone knows the church scene. A very, I guess, offensive scene, but probably the best scene in the whole movie. It is freaking badass, and I love this movie. It's funny, it's action-packed, and it's my 10th favorite spy movie. Coming number 9 is Argo, Fuck Yourself. Yes, Argo. This is an amazing movie. This movie stars and is also directed by Ben Affleck himself, also produced with George Clooney. I love this movie, Argo. Yes, it's a war movie, but it's also a spy movie because it's about CIA agents trying to get people out of Tehran, because this is based on a true story about these Americans trapped in Tehran, and basically they were trapped in the Canadian embassy, and the CIA comes out with a plan to make a fake movie, and they have to film the movie in Tehran. So basically the leader of the operation, Agent Tony Mendez, played by Ben Affleck, teams up with makeup artist John Chambers, played by John Goodman, and also Alan Arkin. They do all this publicity for this fake movie, and then he goes to Tehran and pretends these Americans are Canadians and they're a film crew, and that's how they're going to smuggle them out of the country. It is a very gripping, entertaining story, very, very intense, especially in the third act. It's a bit Hollywoodized, but it just works. This is one of my favorite movies directed by Ben Affleck, and that is saying a lot because he's done amazing movies like Gone Baby Gone and The Town, but this is like one of my favorites. He should have got Best Director at the Oscars. And won Best Picture. Why not Best Director? That's stupid, but this is such a great movie, amazing performances, very intense, and I just love it. Argo is amazing, and it's my 9th favorite spy movie. Coming number 8 is North by Northwest. Yes, this is an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Alfred Hitchcock has done some spy movies like Secret Agent, The 39 Steps, Notorious, great movies. North by Northwest is my favorite spy movie directed by Alfred Hitchcock. This is such a great movie. This is basically about a guy in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's about these group of people, these terrorists basically, and they think he's someone else. So a spy agency knows who he is, and they get him to infiltrate to these bad guys and, stop them and save the girl, played by Eva Marie Saint, and the lead guy, Roger, is played by Cary Grant, and they think he's this guy named Kaplan and stuff, this smuggler, arms dealer, I forget who he is, but basically he joins the spy agency to put an end to these bad guys, played by Eddie Mason. Yes, he's awesome in this movie. I love this movie. This is a very great action thriller. I love the score, the classic score in this movie. Yes, a lot of TV shows have satirized a lot of the scenes in this movie, but it is so iconic. This is such a great, well-directed, well-paced film. I think Eva Marie Saint and Cary Grant both steal this movie. It is a great adventure movie, thriller, action movie, but also a very good romance, too, with a very good and heartwarming ending. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite Hitchcock movies. It's not my number 1. It's no Psycho or Rare Window, but it's still an amazing movie, and it's my 8th favorite spy movie. Coming number 7 is Tony Scott's Enemy of the State. Yes, this is one of my favorite Tony Scott movies. True Romance is my favorite, but this is one of my favorites. This is Will Smith and Gene Hackman. Basically, again, this is another movie about being in the wrong place at the wrong time, because basically a guy filmed a political figure killing someone, and he puts the tape in Will Smith's pocket, and basically the government is after him, and no matter what he does, they will find him. But he has the help of Gene Hackman to solve the case and get down to the bottom of it. Who's that real asshole who's doing all this trouble? It's John Voight, spoilers, but yeah, I love this movie. Tony Scott's direction is fantastic. It's a great action thrill ride. Will Smith's awesome. Gene Hackman, I think, steals this movie. He's so great. He's such a grumpy old bastard, but I freaking love him. He's a very smart character, and a lot of great supporting actors like John Voight. You got Lisa Bonet, you got Regina King, Jack Black, Scott Conn, Seth Green. You got a lot of actors, Jason Lee, a lot of actors in this movie, and they all do a great job. Very good movie. It's got a lot of great dark comedy in the movie too, but it's also just a great action, entertaining movie, and it's one of my favorite Tony Scott movies. If you're a Tony Scott fan, you love this movie. Coming number 6 is A Most Wanted Man. A Most Wanted Man is my favorite movie based off of a John LeClaire novel. I'm a big John LeClaire fan. I love his books. I loved that new TV miniseries that came out, The Night Manager. That is amazing. A Most Wanted Man, The Most Wanted Man is my favorite, though. It's my favorite adaptation. It's completely loyal to the source material, and they just chose the perfect cast. Philip Seymour Hoffman, this is one of his last roles, and he is brilliant in this movie as Gunther. He's so good in this movie. Amazing. He should have been nominated for an Oscar for his performance in this movie. He's brilliant. Rachel McAdams, Willem Dafoe, all very good. Robin Wright, they're all great. Even the small performance by Daniel Bruhl. Everyone is just solid. And this movie relies heavy on dialogue. If you're not a fan of dialogue movies, then you will find this movie a bore, a snooze fest. But I love dialogue movies. I get a hard-on for some dialogue movies, whether it's the Bourne Trilogy or a good Kevin Smith movie. This movie is absolutely brilliant. It's my favorite John LeClaire adaptation, and it's my 6th favorite spy movie. Coming number 5 is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Yes, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Okay, just to speed through this, I'm going to leave a link down below to my review of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I did a review of it last year. I also did a ranking of all the Mission Impossible movies. So check those 2 videos out. You'll see what I thought of Rogue Nation. But all in all, it's one of the greatest action movies in the past, decade, right with Mad Max Fury Road. It's a great espionage movie. It plays an homage to the original first Mission Impossible, but also being better. I love the team in this movie. I love Tom Cruise. He's amazing. He's a crazy guy flying on a real-life plane. Jeremy Renner, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, all great in this movie. A great, intimidating villain. Just a great action thrill ride. And it's one of my favorite Mission Impossible movies, and it's my 5th favorite spy movie. Coming number 4 is GoldenEye. Yes, GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan. This is my favorite Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie. I think it's my only favorite Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie. Tomorrow Never Dies, Die Another Day, World's Not Enough. They're very silly movies. This one is actually fantastic. Pierce Brosnan is great. Frankie Jensen's awesome in this movie. Alan Cummings, hilarious. I am invincible. Sean Bean's amazing in this movie too. Of course, he has to die. It's Sean Bean, you know. And I love this movie. This is a great story, great characters. And it just feels like a fun James Bond movie without being too silly, goofy, and ridiculous. It's actually a serious James Bond movie, but also it has a lot of fun with a James Bond story. It just works. It just works. Pierce Brosnan, after this movie, I thought he'd be one of the best James Bonds, but yeah, he wasn't. But he was still great in this one. Coming number 3 is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Yes, this is my favorite Mission Impossible movie. Rogue Nation's right there with it, but this one's a little better. I like the action better in this movie. It's more visually appealing, and I love the team. I love, again, Ving Rhames is at the end, but this introduced Jeremy Renner's character, Simon Pegg. I love this team, and I love the mission, and yes, the villain may be a bit forgettable. The Rogue Nation villain's more memorable, but the story's more exciting. The stakes are so high, and it's just so entertaining from start to finish, and it's a much longer movie, but you're on the edge of your seat the whole freaking movie. I love the new gadgets. I love Tom Cruise going up the freaking building, one of the largest buildings in the world. It is just such a fun movie. That's why I like Ghost Protocol the best. It's the best of the Mission Impossible franchise, and it's my 3rd favorite spy movie. Coming number 2 is the entire Bourne Trilogy. Yes, I just cheated. I didn't want to pick a favorite, so Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Ultimatum, all amazing movies. Matt Damon is just fantastic as the role of Jason Bourne. These are all great movies, directed by Doug Liman, and the last 2 directed by Paul Greengrass. I can't wait for Bourne 5. That looks freaking amazing. After Bourne 5, I will probably do a ranking of all the Bourne movies, but until then, I'm just going to put them all as a tie because I love them all. They're all great, well-crafted action movies. They all use shaky cam as a style, not as a gimmick, but as a style. And Matt Damon is fantastic in all these movies. I also love Joan Allen and Brian Cox, Julia Stiles, Chris Cooper. All of them are great throughout these movies. Carl Urban's great in Bourne Supremacy. They're all amazing movies, and I just love it. It's the Bourne franchise. I hate fucking Bourne Legacy, but these 3 are amazing. And my number 1 favorite spy movie is Casino Royale. Yes, my favorite James Bond movie. Yes, this movie is fantastic. Name's Bond. James Bond. Daniel Craig, I never thought Daniel Craig would be one of the best James Bonds. He was so good. Sean Connery gives him a run for his money. He's an amazing Bond, and I also love Timothy Dalton, but Daniel Craig, him in this movie, he is so good. He brings a different Bond. He's a much darker Bond, but he also feels like a more real Bond. You feel so sympathetic to him. You also relate a lot to him, and this one actually shows Bond has a weak side when he falls in love, with Eva Green and stuff. It's actually a very beautiful romance, and it has a very tragic ending. You'll love everything about this movie. The first act of this movie is a great thrill ride, but the second act is a great dramatic thriller with the card games and stuff, and then the third act just turns into just a downright tragic action movie, and it just works. Everything about Casino Royale is amazing. This movie is everything that I love about James Bond. I always thought GoldenEye was the best Bond, and Goldfinger was right there with it, but when Casino Royale came out, I knew this was the best James Bond movie, one of the best action movies, and my number 1 favorite spy movie. So yeah, that was my top 10 favorite spy movies. So in the comment section below, please tell me, did you agree with this list? If not, give me your top 10 favorite spy movies. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.